Let's cover troubleshooting price rules in CPQ. So out of the box, we don't get much from CPQ price rules in terms of logging. What I've done here is create this field um, under the admin tab, price rule logging. It's a rich text field, which we'll be using our price rules to populate. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and set this back to a null value so I can demonstrate how this gets populated on one of our quotes. So in this dev org, I don't have too many price rules. I have enough to demonstrate the functionality. But as soon as we get loaded up, you can see I'm going to make a clone of an existing line item on the quote and then click save. So let me go ahead and take care of that and save as soon as it finishes loading. There we go. And save. And so that action alone will trigger the calculation sequences with CPQ. Our price rules have been running in the background, and the save has taken us back to the quote. So let's go back into the admin tab. You can see here's a list of the rules that ran. I have a few that I've just created for this demo's purposes. I can see in what order and at what time they ran. So that gives us way more information than what we had in the past. Let me also show you this. We will need a specific price rule for resetting that field once it gets too close to its max number of characters. Not a big deal, just to prevent issues as calculations happen over and over again. Here's a formula on a price action that's responsible for populating that value. We're going to need an additional price action for every price rule that you have in your org. So let's say you have 15 price rules. We're going to add an additional action to the end of that price rule. And that action is going to be just as I have it here. I'm going to post a link to my website so that you can download that if you'd like to. What I recommend doing is actually starting here with the flow. So I have a flow. It's triggered on create of a price rule, and it's going to populate these values on a new price action every time a rule is created. So this will get you going for all new price rules created, but you will still need the data load for any past price rules. So here you can see some of the formula elements to this flow. I'll also go ahead and post a link to an unmanaged package. If you'd like me to do the work for you, you can simply download this flow as well as the custom field that we saw on the quote a moment ago. So there's really not too much to this unmanaged package. Let me go ahead and show you the components involved. It is just the single flow that we took a look at and the price rule logging rich text field that lives on the quote itself. Okay, let's talk about how we would display that field. For my purposes, I've chosen to create a new tab on a Lightning page. So let me go ahead and show you this inside of the Lightning page editor. So right here is my admin tab. I've added a utils section. This is part of the dynamic forms, but for my purposes, I've just included a single field, price rule logging. I set it as read-only just in case some other users have access to it. And I would recommend, if you have more than just a dev org like I do, applying some dynamic visibility to it so it doesn't confuse your users. It could be useful to operations users as well as admins or developers. And you can choose exactly where you'd like to display that within your apps in your org, or you could just simply view it in the background if needed. Okay, so let's go over the components involved in this altogether. We have the flow, which we looked at. It's responsible for adding additional price action to each new price rule. So that handles from now on going forward. The rich text field, which is the field we were looking at that displays the ordered list of items that serves as our log. Page layouts, in our case, we looked at updating a Lightning page and having a section just for that field. The price rule, a new price rule entirely, which is responsible for clearing the value of that rich text field as it approaches the maximum allowed number of characters for the field. And of course, a data load. If you'd like to go ahead and set this up for all your existing rules, you will need to data load each of those. Maybe you just have a select subset that you'd like to log for, and that would be just fine too. So we've covered how this works at a high level. If you'd like a more step-by-step manual on setting this feature up, I'm going to go ahead and post the link right here. If you click that, it'll take you to the article accompanying this video. as well as any of the components. If you'd wish to download the data components or the metadata, there's a package for those.